Hi, I'm Katie Nobles,
And I'm disability attorney Michael Einer.
and you're watching The Bottom Line. Today's topic, the ideal candidate for Social Security disability benefits. So, Michael, break it down for us here. Who is the most ideal candidate to get these benefits?
Yeah, and this is a very broad question, Katie, but it's one that's so important that we get asked all the time. So what I'm going to do is just try and give an overview of some things that I think are really important. First thing that I know from experience is so important. The ideal candidate for disability is someone who is receiving medical treatment from specialists for each of the impairments that they consider to be impairing their ability to work. So for example, if you are applying for disability because of a heart issue, you should be seeing a cardiologist. If you are applying for disability because of mental health issues, you should be seeing a psychiatrist and perhaps a therapist as well as a psychologist. And for each of those impairments that are keeping you from being able to work, you should be treating with specialists. Additionally, and this is a separate point, it's very important that you're not just treating with them, but that you're actually following their advice and communicating your functional limitations to those providers, okay? To keep going down the list of things that I think are important for the ideal candidate for disability benefits, certainly, somebody who's out of work, because if you're working and earning more than $1,310 per month, you're unable to get disability benefits. But ideally, what I like to see is somebody who tried to work even with their health condition, because then what that allows me to show Social Security is, look, when this person tried performing the demands of work with their with their health issue, it kept them from being able to do so. So that pattern, that history, just lends even more credibility to the case. Next point, it becomes a little bit easier to get disability as you get older. So the ideal candidate for disability is probably somebody who is, between 50 and 65 years old. I don't want to dissuade anybody who's unable to work full time who is under 50 from applying, but I also don't want to ignore the fact that when somebody is 50 and then again when somebody turns 55, the rules for disability change a little bit and it can become progressively easier to receive disability benefits. And then the last thing, just because I think this is so important, the ideal candidate for disability understands that there's a wait here. Disability cases aren't won overnight. Even an initial approval for benefits often takes several months. When you apply for disability, Social Security says that the wait time for their first decision is going to take them 4 to 6 months. That's on the paperwork they send to claimants. So somebody who's patient and knows that an entire disability case often takes years. So, being able to ride that out and trust the attorney that you're working with, those really are helpful and important components to this process. So those are things that I think are important to have in mind, Katie.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. And remember, we're answering everybody's questions right here on The Bottom Line. If you have a question that you'd like to see Michael answer, submit it on our website. That's linerlegal.com.